I'm not going to put another person into my expedition group right now. Because... Oh, well, I suppose I could actually put a crafter in there. There's no particular reason not to. It's just that having a crafter in the expedition group isn't as useful as having pretty much anyone else. But I suppose
all my crafters at home.
All of my crafters... I mean, that isn't entirely true. Having a crafter in your group is good because they tend to be very good people for speaking. And you know what? Sure, I'll bring along 9. But the thing... with 9 is that I do not want them carrying this around. There is no point in bringing that with us. That golden hammer can go to Pyromaniac. Drat. Well, since you're just here, that will be fine. Ooh, I need send this these wicker baskets over to my exploration group. Forgot about that. It's pretty, you know, I made them specifically for that. To forget about them is a bit silly. Diorite, you've got a gathering of 1, 1, 2, 3. Me? No, not you then. Diorite, not you by 1. There we go. 9 can carry it. Okay, that's not too bad. Right, I can move now. Sorry about that.
Well, if I make something out of nimblewood, gold, and silver, I can make a brooch that gives me 4 find weakness, 1 stealth, 4 divination, and 1 range damage.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
Nice.
Hello, Great Grey Wolf.
I shall make that, I think.
Atomnics, don't say things like that, you scallywag.
What did Atomic say?
He's telling chat that I only stream once a month, which is a flat-out lie. You wretched person, you.
Moods today,
I know. I should put him in the timeout cage.
I don't think you can put people in the timeout cage.
Can if the cage is big enough.
I guess.
Okay, what are you up to on your turn?
I am just very quickly setting up a... Sorry, I should have just spoken about that. I'm very quickly setting up a thing for just making some Egos.
Ah, cool. Good idea.
Just so people aren't idle, and I will end my turn there.
Lana just reminded me I should rename my expedition. Sure. Lumberjacks, because that's what they're going out for. Oh, and I've got an encounter. Oh, it's the child again. Before you, there is a group of black wolves attacking something. As you look closer, you realize there are 2 packs, one attacking a small baby and one fighting not far with something else. Ooh, this is now a 3-skull battle. I'm going to help the child because it's a 3-skull battle.
Yeah,
rather than split my group.
Does the child come with you if you help the child or not?
Quite often, yeah. If it survives, you usually take the child. Ah, damn it. Counter offense, please, Kalissa. Take out one of your ally wolves. Well, no one is going to be able to get first action here tonight. Well, actually, no. I can have Diorite take first action. Sure, let's get Diorite in first action. At that point, unfortunately, 9...
Are you explaining the fight for the viewers?
Thank you very, 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 very much.
Thank you, Smaragd.
I've missed a little bit of this because I just jumped straight into it. Okay, so Smaragd. The way that this happens is when you enter a fight, you have a certain amount of people, or cards if you want to think of it like that go into the fight with you. That's just your deck. Each person represents a card and each enemy represents a card. Different people, as you've seen, everyone has different skills that can raise or at different paces. Whenever you get a level up, everyone you have gets a level up, and one thing will increase by 1 or 2 points. They can go up at different amounts for certain like rewards and things like that, but generally they'll just go up every now and then by 1 or 2 points on just one randomly selected thing. You'll find that classes tend to affect what skills go up, so you'll usually find that gatherers will be a bit more gathery, crafters will be a bit more focused on crafting and talking, warriors will be more focused on fighting. When you enter a battle, your deck will be split in half, randomly shuffled, and half your deck will be in the offensive deck, and half the deck will be in the tactical deck. And that's the same for your enemy as well. Now, any card in the offensive deck can just be played. As you see, these cards, the ones without the question marks, were from the offensive deck. And what that means is when you play them, like the game works in order from left to right, and is kind of like random whether you get to place your card first or the enemy does. But after that, you take it in turns. Now, based on the number of cards you have left versus your opponent, you may get to place more than one card on your turn. But generally, it's going to be one. As you can see, I can place 2 cards because there's literally nothing the enemy can place. But occasionally, even if the enemy still has some cards, you might be able to place 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how big a difference between the amount of cards you have and the amount of cards they have. The order is important because the order of battle is this person will take a turn and will attack. When something attacks, let's use 9 as an example. So 9 can attack left or right, and that's picked purely at random. I have no way of controlling it. And that adds a bit of an element of chance, because sometimes your plans really rely on the right person being attacked when a unit gets a chance. Now, as I was saying, the offensive deck gets to be played, and they will take a turn. Because there's no question marks here, that indicates confusion. Now, when an offensive card is played, it's going to get to fight in the first phase. There are 2 phases to each attack. And the first phase, anyone who wasn't confused on the first phase will get to attack. And then in the second phase, the confusion wears off, so everyone can attack at that point. You can play a tactical card. Now, the offensive cards, all you can do is place them on the battle grid, but the tactical group, they have things that they can do, like utility abilities to help. These can be counter-tactic, which means that they'll try to distract or otherwise tangle up one of the enemy's tactic cards, and if they succeed, they get pulled out of the fight straight away. They go to the discard pile. That number there, it means that in a battle, it's perception that's used as your counter-tactic stat. And the level of your perception, if you notice each of these cards, they have a level there. This means that I can use that ability on anyone with 2 or less level. Level 2 or less, this would work on it. If everyone in the tactics deck was 3 or more, then I'd waste the card. It would still try to do it, and then would get moved to the discard pile, but none of the enemy tactics card would get moved. But there's other things, like Shield Ally would add this buff onto 9. It adds the buff onto the rightmost card that you encounter.
I like Shield Ally, it's a nice
Yes, the same with Support Ally. In this case, this card doesn't have Support Ally, but Support Ally adds to their damage. First action allows you to take a card, no matter like the rightmost card that you can affect, and moves it to the very front of the queue. It's a very powerful ability. Get Closer allows the card to enter the combat, and that's what these cards, that's why they're confused, because you can put a tactical card into the battle, but they'll start the first turn completely confused. They might not survive the first turn as a result. Now, there are some caveats. You'll notice that we've got some information on the side. This is the shielding attribute. When I play this card, it will start off with that much shield. You'll notice here, the health is 31 plus 8. That 8 is shielding. As long as the only damage done to this card in this fight is to the shielding, then no wounds get applied to my card after the battle. But if damage is actually done to the main health, which is a combination of your character's basic health and their armor stat, then after the fight they'll actually have wounds to deal with, and that can lead to death. You've got the damage here. That's the health, as I mentioned. But the damage has a different symbol. For example, here we've got a spear. That means it's piercing damage. And piercing damage works in a special way. For example, you might think, oh, I'll just play this card because it's got more health, it's got more shielding, so it'll be able to absorb more damage coming from this side. But in this particular instance, I'm going to force my tactical card to enter the combat because it's got piercing damage. And when the last card in the row is an enemy card and you play a card with piercing damage, that card gets inserted in front of the enemy and does half of its stated piercing damage automatically just from being placed. Still confused, but got to do half of its damage anyway because of that particular ability. If there are any other questions, by all means, just go ahead and ask, and I will do my best to answer it after the battle. Now that I've explained the basics, any specific questions you might have,
good job, I think.
I'll be able to answer them without needing to have the battle up in front of us for it to make sense, hopefully. Hopefully. Right, you've protected the child first, and you killed all the wolves. Now, unfortunately, 9 took 5 wounds from that because their basic health stat took damage. Now, again, their health stat is their health plus their armor. I do a lot of gesturing with my hands when I talk. But as a result, they've lost 5 wounds. They can recover that from camping or just over time. If you get enough wounds, it can become a serious wound, and at that point you've got a 30% base chance of dying unless your medic reduces that chance. Right, so we've got a few things: some meat, fur, lots of bones. Check how the child and the cat are. Alas, the cat lies on its deathbed. You approach it, and with its last breath, upon seeing the child safe, it whispers its thanks. You feel a blessing upon you, and you're pretty sure this must be a Dola, a protective spirit demon.
Aww.
And it blessed Lord Lycanthrope and Mentor Celine with blessings of dexterity. So they've now both got 5 extra dexterity for 20 turns, and I've got a new child. Hooray! Let's check in chat, see if anyone has asked a question. Isda's asking, how can Babushka at 9 do 19 damage? Oh, Isda. No, it doesn't seem that I've got any more questions. There we are. Okay.
Oh, it's getting dark now.
It is, unfortunately.
I don't know if I should head back or whether I should carry on.
Well, at night, enemies are
significantly
more likely to try and attack you. Like, significantly more.
A long, long way to go, though. And yeah, I'll send them back. They can just wait. I won't disband them, I'll just let them wait.
I mean, you could. Like, how far do they have to go? Where are you trying to get to?
No, I think they could make it there and back in the daytime, honestly. I'll wait until day.
Okay. I'll just pass time. I'm really close to Aavak, so I'm just gonna hang out here. I'm just gathering up some.
I'm just gonna pass turns until.
Yeah, sure. I'm down with that.
Until the night time's over.
I'm getting some elf wood every single turn, so that's pretty cool for me.
Oh, Neil got an encounter. Oh, during the night, a Mamuna is seen escaping the village.
Oh no!
All the parents check their children in horror and discover the worst. One of the children has been switched for a changeling. Wait, we've heard old stories of this happening. Your wise ones gather and talk. The changeling can grow into many things. It could become a human-like adult that will be strange but not evil. It can grow into one of the many demons that practice this habit of switching. If that happens, there's no telling what it will become. So I can say that I'll see what it's going to turn into, or I can kill it.
Your choice.
I'm going to see.
Okay.
So I have acquired Yarm Miller, and I have lost a child.
The child instantly grew up, basically.
Cool. I let the changeling child live and raise it as my own. It grows quickly. Within days, it takes its true form. The changeling has grown into a girl, one with wisdom beyond her years and with eyes of a cat. A witch wielding folk magic.
That is really good.
But apart from her oddities, she remains loyal and devoted to her family and no different to any human.
That is really, really quite good.
Great, she's one of us now.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so thank you for your explanation. You're more than welcome. What does poison do? Right, okay. Well, poison... When someone has poison, And Life Leech, I'll explain it as well, because they're kind of similar. They're status effects on top of your attack. So when you attack someone, you have poison damage and Life Leech damage. They just flat out add to the damage that you do. In the case of poison, say you've got 2 poison, and your weapon does 10 damage naturally. When you attack, you'll do 12 damage the first time. If the enemy is wounded, however, or whether or not you were the one to cause the wound, if they are wounded at all, then the poison damage is doubled. So at the least, you'll do 12 damage, but if the enemy is wounded, you'll do 14, because only the poison damage is doubled. Life Leech does not double or anything like that, but again, let's say you had 2 Life Leech and 10 damage weapon, then every time you attack, you'll do 12 damage. However, every single time you attack, you will gain 2 health back. And it doesn't matter if you had lost health in this battle or the last one. Like, in some games, Life Leech effects will only count for damage that was dealt to you in that particular battle. For example, let's think, Heroes of Might and Magic does it. If the damage wasn't applied to the troop stack in that battle, you can't heal it up through the certain means. However, Life Leech will happily repair wounds that you got ages ago. So it's really, really quite good. There are some times when I've got someone who has a Life Leech weapon or a Life Leech basic ability. If they're on the verge of dying because they got heavy wounds and there's an easy fight, I'll jump into the fight. And I'll make sure that that character is one of the ones who gets to attack first, because they will heal themselves out of the danger zone by attacking some random passerby. It's a useful tactic.
Okay, I'm just trying to equip my witch with
something
that's not too heavy.
And
Everything's
Shmooky,
too heavy.
we're playing with Mokosh. I can make a bunch of things if you need me to.
Might have to give her slightly less heavy armor. I think that would help.
Mm-hmm.
That would allow me to equip her with a bow. Oh, it won't quite.
Yes, as technically, elves naturally do piercing damage. There are 3 types of damage that weapons can do. Basic damage, which applies the same way you might imagine. Piercing damage, which I've already explained, means you will apply half of your damage to the first enemy if to an enemy card, if that card was the last one in the kind of the battle queue, and you'll move in front of them. Which can mean that you'll do damage and then you'll get to move before them as well, and thus do damage again. It can be quite powerful. And then there's blunt damage, which will trample. It'll only trample once, but for example, say you've got an enemy who has 5 health and you do 10 damage, and there are 2 enemies, both with 5 health. Or let's say one enemy with 10, one enemy with 5. And the one you're attacking is the one with 5 health. You'll hit them, you'll do 5 damage, but because you've still got damage left over, you'll do another 5 damage to the next enemy in the queue. So it's quite useful on very high damaging attacks. But yeah, elves are super useful because no matter what damage they do, it'll be piercing. So you can just give them a crazy high damage weapon and know that you're just going to win most fights before they've even begun. Right, we've got quite a lot of Elvenwood coming in now.
I need to rename my person, apparently.
Ah, yes. But yes, in response to Izdar's, genuine question, Gatherers actually make fairly potent combat characters, but Nine is actually a crafter. I wonder, how are you doing that much? He's doing 16 damage, but he's doing 10 damage naturally. He's just that dangerous. It's just the way it is. Nothing special there.
My witch is now called Kim.
Kim the Witch. Lovely.
Can't wait till dawn. Aha! Yay, we can go out now. I don't know if I should put my witch in my party.
Take care, Lana.
Medic.
Have a good sleep, mate. Ooh, I've got a new person. I've got a new warrior. Fantastic.
Fantastic. Well done.
Slowly recovering from that terrible position I was in earlier. And this is why you don't throw everything out all the time. Because there will come a time when you actually want to give someone some gear. You may as well have that. That's better than what you currently got.
Check what everyone's up to production-wise.
Actually, how much damage do you do? 12 damage? 10 damage, but it is blunt now, so it'll carry over. I'll give you a shield as well. May as well. There we are.
Ah yes, I do have a herbalist hut. I've got all 10 buildings all completely. I'd have to pull them down to make any more construction.
Which can be quite frustrating.
If they're all made of the same thing, do you have to pull them all down at once?
No.
No, you can just pull one of them down.
Yeah, fairly certain.
Ah, cool.
Hello, Jaradan. How are you doing? And hello, Tiny Medwin. Indeed, some chill Thea before sleep. It is only 9:45 for me, so we're probably going to be streaming for a little while. Probably until Lady Shelab gets tired.
Yeah, at least another hour.
At which point I'll probably wrap up the stream, go get some noms. Which, looking at the time, is probably not going to involve pizza. Frankly. Make myself an omelette or something. I might even come back and stream some more then.
24-hour McDonald's for the win. Anyway.
I'm contemplating it. Firmly. Because there is one not too far from where I live.
Yeah, where I live, the only place that's open, like, past about, I think, 11 o'clock is McDonald's. So if you want food after 11 o'clock and you don't have any in the house, McDonald's is the only place you can go.
Take care, you Kath. You know what? Maybe I will treat myself to a McDonald's. I think I deserve it. Also, that would be that'll be good because it gets out of the house, has a bit of a walk. You know, cool night air on my cheeks, wake me up a bit. So I may stream once we're finished with recording Thea. Which will probably be maybe an hour, 2 hours, something like that.
I think we need to stop recording now because, like, literally, I'm getting fairly bad luck.
No! What did you get?
Orcs attacked me. I travel through the hills in search of resources. See, it knows what I'm doing. And I come across the remains of an old settlement. The houses are small, almost built into the hills themselves, and despite the decay brought by the darkness, many look well preserved.
Okay.
You realise, however, that you are not alone, as two tall orcs step in front of you with their weapons drawn.
While you're reading this, I am listening. I've got my headset on, but El Young wants to see the facts, so I'm going to go grab one of them.
Okay. Halt! One shouts at you in a deep, heavy, drumming voice. I can either attack and do a four-skull fight, which, yeah, let's face it, it's not going to happen. Or I can say, okay, let's not do anything rash. The two orcs speak to each other in a foreign tongue, which sounds a lot like whistling leaves on a windy day. You make out a few words like deal, mistress, and vault, and not much else. Well, that's kind of scary. The orcs step aside and an orcish female steps in. She's tall, muscular, and holds her head up high as she speaks to you. We got here first, humans, and from the looks of you, there's nothing you can be useful for. So beat it. And I say, surely we can find a way to help each other and thus find more, because it's my only option. Turning to the women in your group, the orc leader speaks. You speak wisely as expected from one without the burden of testicles weighing on their mind.
So rude!
Let us work in unison and scour this place before the darkness descends upon us.
Siri?
They are. Is Siri there?
Yes.
Oh, the stream hasn't got her quite there yet. Oh, there she is! Oh, she's so cute.
She is.
Okay.
Hello. Oh,
you search the ruins together and you find only scraps, but then one of the buildings turns out to hold a hidden basement. The orcs find the place first and enter, but you hear the floors breaking beneath them. You see a dark chasm beneath. You have time to try and pull them up, or you can leave them to their doom, leaving any loot to yourselves. I can help them out for a free skull physical that I will probably fail, or I can let them fall.
You can have some fair return.
And I'm going to let them fall. I know it's mean.
Really? You are harsh.
Yep. You stand by as the floor of the strange basement collapses further and devours several of the orcs. However, their leader shouts out some kind of command and begins chanting in their tongue. Her people seem to get a bout of fresh strength, and together they climb out. They charge you. To arms, fight. It's a 2-skull battle.
Okay, well that's not so bad, I guess. That's actually not... Usually that event plays out differently for me. Because I usually help them. And then it all goes well.
Good stuff.
And I get an orc.
I wouldn't have been able to do the physical challenge with the people I've got, I don't think, though. So...
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Beautiful.
So I've got Divine, Black Sun, and Lucky in the offensive hand, and I have Mystery Guy and let's see, Marrow in the tactical hand. Marrow, I could really do with you not in the tactical hand. You know, it'd be good. You're my main fighter.
You can have a little bit more firepower. I'm just going to be, playing with Siri while you're going through that fight.
Well, I'm going to tell Marrow. The first thing I'm going to do is tell Marrow to get closer. Because there's no point in having Marrow anywhere else other than on the board. I've got an Orc Fighter who has 18 damage and has 51 defense. 10 of it shield, 41 of it health.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Is that an Orc Fighter or Matriarch?
Fighter.
Okay.
I'm going to play Black Sun behind the Orc Fighter because he has the most shield out of anyone.
Okay.
I'm actually going to tell Mysterious Guy to get closer as well.
People on stream can see how hard it is for me to hold Siri right now. She's basically... Ferrets are more or less a liquid, by the way, if you didn't know. They're not a solid, they're a liquid.
Yep. And the Orc Witch is 22, but 21 damage.
Ooh, nice.
Ouch. And I play Divine next, because she's actually got... She's not got much shield, she'll take wounds. This could be really horrible, actually.
It's going to be a rough one.
She'll pierce it.
Take care, Schmofo.
I've got more cards than them, but their cards are dead strong.
Yeah, the orcs usually are, unfortunately.
Ouch. Divine is going to be down to 0 health, pretty much. They're nearly down. Yeah, they're down. But Divine was down to 1 health. Everyone else was fine.
Have you won the fight?
14 wounds. Yeah, I won the fight, but Divine took 14 wounds.
Well done.
I got 1 herb, a sword, a morning star, a nice looking bow, 13 granites, 14 steel, and 20 vines. And I'm going to just camp.
Am I groomed enough now, Siri? You done? No? Not yet. Okay. Bless you.
You just licking your hand?
Yes, pretty much. Mwah. Give me kisses. Lots of kisses from Siri. Mwah. Okay, I'm
fingers
pop it
crossed
back in the
Divine
cage.
will survive. Fingers very crossed. There is a medic here, so there's a chance she'll be alright.
And I am back. Okay. It amused me that once the ferrets were out, they're like, "Oh no, make your camera big again now. Now we're not looking at you. We're looking at the ferrets. We don't care if it's covering the game." I see where your loyalties lie. Okay, right. I'll just end my turn there because I'm still just gathering.